The only way I found out I was deactivated is because I couldn't get back online.
Sunday morning, about 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone went buzzing, and I got the message from Uber saying that I was sacked.
One day, I was dropping off at the airport, and then next thing I know, I couldn't go back online and sign me offline, and it didn't tell me why I was signed offline.
These 3 women don't know each other. In fact, they don't even live in the same state. But they're all rideshare drivers, they're all transgender, and they were all suspended from Uber. The ride-hail company, valued at nearly $70 billion, has revolutionized the taxi industry with its easy-to-use service. But some drivers say they're getting booted from the app because its features are too basic.
I started my transition pretty much when I got this job because I was only like a month and a half on hormones at the point, so there were no physical changes. I wasn't presenting as female, I was just kind of going androgynous.
Since Janie hasn't changed her legal name yet, she has to include her birth name on the Uber app, which makes for a lot of uncomfortable interactions with riders.
It's for safety of the rider, but it actually compromises my safety more than it helps them. And I literally have to explain myself and out myself all the time, and it's annoying.
Aside from the naming confusion, Janie has to think about another aspect of the app: her changing physical features and Uber's automated facial recognition system. Uber uses something called real-time ID check. It was rolled out in the summer of 2016 to, quote, protect both riders and drivers. Occasionally, drivers will be prompted to pull over and take a selfie. That photo is then compared to the driver's photo on file, using technology from Microsoft Cognitive Services. If that photo isn't a match, the driver's account is temporarily suspended. In theory, it makes sense. You don't want someone that's not actually registered on Uber driving people around. But the problem is, the technology Uber is using doesn't take into account drivers going through gender transitions. Janie took steps to document her transition in the Uber system by uploading new photos throughout her transition, both so that riders would know who to look for and so that Uber had a catalog of her appearance in case there was ever an issue. And just before July 4th, 2018, there was.
I was already at Uber. I got ready to go and drove downtown, and the only way I found out I was deactivated is because I couldn't get back online.
Once she got through to someone on the phone, she was told there was an issue with her photo verification and that she needed to go into a green light hub to resolve it.
You guys only have one hub in a lot of states, and I'm expected to drive there to prove my identity because of this mistake.
About 3 days later, Janie was back up and running, but she's not the only one that's had to put her work on hold for a few days and drive into a green light hub to explain her gender identity.
I don't think Uber is this evil company. Yeah, their focus is on profit, and one of those things is automating as much as possible. And when you have a system that is so overly automated, people like myself fall within the cracks.
Like Janie, Lindsay was suspended from the app and prompted to drive to a green light hub for further action. Neither of the women were able to call the green light hub beforehand. And once they got there, things were resolved and an employee apologized for the mistake, but they weren't compensated for the lost time.
And I was making about $1,000 to $1,200 a week, so it was pretty good money. And I was able to pay my bills and make my car payment, my insurance and everything, and it was taken away from me, and now I'm struggling.
Amber had been driving for roughly 16 months when, without warning, Uber sent her a message saying she had been terminated for what was called, quote, sexually inappropriate conversation. Amber denies any inappropriate comments and said the report likely came from a conversation about her necklace, which shows the transgender symbol. When she tried to explain to the company, they said the decision was final. Uber confirmed Amber's termination and stood by its decision to deactivate her for behavior that violated its community guidelines, and said it had nothing to do with real-time ID checks or transgender issues. Uber has a list of factors that can get a driver deactivated, including low ratings, discrimination, and inaccurate personal information. And it's not just drivers facing problems with the app. Robin Canner is no stranger to the tech world. She's a user experience designer, and she wrote about one way Uber could improve the app experience for trans people in particular, giving users the option to specify their pronouns in the app.
So my experience right now is that there are times that I go into an Uber and I'm misgendered. which for me is an awkward experience because at that moment I'm not thinking about gender. What I'm really thinking about is going to my destination so I can do my job or see friends or hang out or whatever it is. So where it would really help is in those small moments that I'm not thinking about gender for the interaction to be smooth so I'm able to just continue what I'm supposed to do and we don't have to have a stop in a conversation about gender.
An Uber spokesperson said the company rolled out a feature in April that allows employees to specify their pronouns in an internal directory. However, the feature is not yet available to riders and drivers. Uber said it does have an internal task force dedicated to making sure trans drivers are successfully onboarded and that trans riders feel safe. However, none of the drivers in this piece had experienced special onboarding or were aware of the task force. An Uber spokesperson told CNBC, "We want Uber to be a welcoming, safe, and respectful experience for all who use the app. That's why we maintain clear community guidelines and a non-discrimination policy for riders and drivers, in addition to many safety features. We continue to focus on ways to advance our tech and constantly improve our app experience." And it's not just Uber that's faced criticism for its lack of inclusivity in design. Both Facebook and Tinder updated their apps to include more gender identity and pronoun options for its users. And as tech becomes more ingrained in the workforce and human experience, the need to address diversity in design isn't going away.